Hi ladies, I want to talk to you about recruiting, building your team, and how to do the recruit game at an actual party. So I'm going to tell you the benefits of why it is important to recruit, because first of all, you don't want to be selfish. If you're not offering this opportunity to girls at the parties, you're honestly being very, very selfish, because you don't know why you're in front of those girls. It could be that they need to help their relationships, they really need to get a business, and if they're needing this for income, they could be in an abusive relationship, they could just be needing extra money to put food on the table, whatever the situation. So my biggest thing is, do not be selfish. Yes, there are benefits of building a team, but the reward of watching these women reach their goals and better their lives, that's why we're really doing it. Because again, it's come to the part of empowering women. And where would you be if you weren't obviously selling Pure Romance, and how it would change your life? So some of the reasons why you obviously have people join your team: once you get 3 girls underneath you, you move up to the next level, which is senior consultant. You get a bigger buying discount. You're getting the residual income. And it just helps you and your family too. So it's rewarding you as you're helping reward and educate and empower women on your team. So let's see. A couple things when I do my recruiting game at the parties, and I always do it kind of, it's like a really good way to rally people back in from the break. I holler out, I'm like, you guys want to play a game? I'm going to give away a toy. Right? That gets people excited. I'm going to give away something that buzzes. My toys aren't anything major. They are these little tiny grab bag toys. You know, there's pocket rockets, these little bullets. It's not anything that we sell, and they're inexpensive to me. So like I said, they're in grab bags, they're in the business essentials, and you don't really know what you're getting. But I just save these really tiny, dinky, inexpensive toys to give away at the recruiting game. But it gets the girls excited about doing it. And I will show you how I do the actual game in just a moment, but a couple of more benefits. There's 2 ways that you can do this, and I judge the crowd. Obviously, when you're doing this, you want to do your I story, why you signed up. And with judging the crowd is, for example, if you're doing this to be a stay-at-home mom and you have, you know, tiny little children, but you have a whole bunch of college students in front of you, you're not going to relate to them. You need to obviously change your I story of how it's going to relate with your crowd. So if you have college students, you need to talk about how this is easy to, you know, do homework, get the residual, you know, get the nice income. So they're getting full-time pay with only part-time working, so they got more times for their studies. If you have girls in the room that are a little bit more established with their relationships and they just want to get out of the house a couple nights a week, that's great. If you got girls that are literally wanting to help with the bills, then you want to work around their stories. So judge the room, but when you want to do your story, it really needs to come from the heart. Why did you sign up? What are some of your goals that you want to do with your Pure Romance money? And maybe some of the things that you've obviously been able to buy with your Pure Romance money. Now the other thing is when we do this game, there's 2 things. You can either use the Let's Connect cards, okay? And if you use the Let's Connect cards, it's this little portion on the back, because there's 2 parts of this game. If you don't have its Connect cards, what I made my own wish list forms, because now that we're doing PeerSell, I just have this little spot at the bottom, and this is from one of the girls on the team, Annalicia. And it has 4 questions, and what it says here, game space, do not write in here until I tell you to. And it just has 4 questions. So like I said, there's 2 parts of this game, and I'm just going to kind of do my little spiel of why I'm doing it. So let's pretend I'm at a party. We're rallying everybody back in from the break, and I'm like, all right girls, we are going to play a game. We're going to play a game, and I'm going to give away a toy. It's totally worth playing for, right? And they're all excited. And I'm like, one of the reasons that I signed up and started doing this is because I actually went to my very first party, didn't even know what this was. But I went to my first party because honestly, I really hated having sex with my husband, and I thought I was going to get another divorce. I've already been through 1 divorce. I was about ready to get another one because I hated having sex. And I thought it was my fault. Now that I know it wasn't my fault, but I really thought it was. So that's why the reason I went to that party. And I was very intrigued what the girl was offering at the party, but then she talked about how much money she made. And I was then obviously more intrigued because I was $70,000 in credit card debt, $20,000 in student loans. I had an accounting degree, and this girl was 18 years old and talking about how much money she made, and she made way more money than I did. So I literally signed up 3 days later. Cost me $250 to get my kit. A year and a half of doing this business. I was still doing my day job, but it was great because I was able to work around my schedule, make some easy, fast cash, and I paid off $90,000 in debt in a year and a half of doing this. That's one of the reasons I signed up. I've been doing it for full time for 8.5 years now. And ladies, the reason I'm kind of telling you this is because we all need extra money. So I want you guys to ask me questions. Ask me questions about the business. Ask me questions about Pyromet's business. Don't ask me what my favorite toy is, because after I've been doing this for 10 years, I've got a lot of favorite toys. We'd be here all night. So they'll ask me different questions about, obviously, how much money do you make? How much was the kit? You got to have these on the tip of your tongue. And I do tickets. So I just give out tickets like crazy for how many questions there are. Now, if this is overwhelming to you, the easiest way you can do this is there are these. They're laminated and they're numbered 1 through 8. It's called the 8-question game. It's on the COO. And if there's 8 girls at the party, you give them each a card. If someone wants 2 cards because you have more cards than people, they give them 2 cards. It's totally fine. So for example, with this 8-question game, it has on the COO question number 1, and it has how you're going to answer it. It's short, it's sweet, and makes it super fast. This is how you guys really should be playing the game when you first start. So for example, question number 1, how much money does your average Pyromet consultant make? Well, the answer would be, and it's right there on the card, the nice thing about this, the sky is the limit. You can make as little or as much money as you want, but in average, we make about $200 to $250 a night doing this. And boom, now that's done. So if you're doing this, the easiest way you can do them is I had boyfriends, okay? I called them boyfriends, and what they were is they were naked man cards. I'm gonna hide their junk. So they were naked man cards, and obviously I have one for every question, 1 through 8, okay? So then I mix them up, and after everyone's done with answering the questions, I mix them up and I have the hostess pick a card, and whoever has the card that matches the question, then they get the free toy that I was giving away. The purpose of this game is you're getting them intrigued of the business. And I'm telling you, if you're not doing this every single time, it's going to take you like 5 to 10 minutes to do this super fast game. You need to be doing it. So that is the Ask Me Anything. You can either do Ask Me Anything or do the questions. And it makes it super simple. Now, this is the second part of the game, okay? I don't give away the toy yet, okay? This is very important. We ask the questions. There's going to be a second part of this game. And remember I said about the connection cards? You can either, where it says, was this party a learning experience for you? There's actually 4 lines. And I tell them to either put 1 through 4. Or if you're doing your own order forms, remember I have this party spot down here. And it has 1 through 4. So I'm going to tell them, ladies, I'm going to ask you 4 questions. They're super simple. Question number 1. Tell me a little bit about yourself. For example, do you have kids? What do you do for a living? Do you work full-time? Maybe you're a student. Maybe you're a domestic goddess. You get to stay home with your kids. Tell me a little bit about yourself on number 1. If you work full-time, do you like your job? So just kind of tell me about what you like or what you do on question number 1. And by me telling them kind of what I want to know if they like their job. I want to know if they're working full-time. I want to know if they're a student. I want to know if they're a stay-at-home mom. This is a reason because I want to know how I can work this business around her schedule and make it more relatable to her. So that's question number 1. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Question number 2 is, if I gave you an extra $1,000 a month, what would you do with it? Now, if you're in debt, please be specific. Tell me how much debt you are in. Remember, I was in $90,000 in credit card debt. Tell me if that would help you get out of debt. Or better yet, dream a little bit. Maybe you want to buy a home. Maybe you want to get into a new car. Maybe you have a shoe addiction. You want to get some new shoes. I don't know. Maybe you want new furniture. So you can either dream a little bit or be realistic. What would an extra $1,000 do for you to change your life? Okay? And then I say, keep in mind, it only takes one party a week, 4 parties a month to make that extra $1,000. I'm just putting that little bug in their ear. That's question number 2. I give them a second to write it down. Number 3 is, this one's a good one. What was the most interesting part to you about the question and answer session that we just did? And then I do leading. I want to remind them what we just talked about. What I judged my crowd. So for example, was it getting paid the night of the party? Was it getting out of your home and spending some time with adult women? Was it, how fast you can make some money? Was it the trips that you can win? Whatever it is, I'm just reminding them everything we just talked about with that game. So question number 3 is, what was the most interesting part to you about the question answer session that we just did? What did you like most about this business? What was intriguing to you? And then I'll see that they're going to write that down. Okay, number 4 is easy. This one's on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being F you. Don't put that. Make me cry, hurt my feelings. I don't like negativity in my life. 10 being, this company sounds amazing. If I teach you and train you and show you how to make that extra $1,000 a month, would this business be right for you on a scale from 2 to 10? Okay? So you gave them a second to write down the number. Now, this is the kicker. The kicker is, ladies, I do 3 interviews a month. If you want to be one of those interviews, please circle that number that you just wrote down, and we'll get you scheduled for an interview. Now, I did have one girl ask me, why did I only do 3 interviews a month? I really don't. I give every girl that circles a number an interview, and I don't really call it, that's what I call them, as interviews, but what it is just coffee dates. You're just seeing if the business works for them, okay? So I'm going to tell you, by having them circle that number, you're still going to get the girls that put 6 and 7 that interested, that they still want to talk to you about the business, but obviously they're not putting 10. So that circling thing is huge, because it gives them a sense of urgency. You're only giving them 3 interviews, and they want to know more about this business. So that is the kicker. If you're not doing the second part of this game, it is pointless for you to be giving away these cheap toys. Okay, so once you finish all of that off, then you can either do your drawing, then give away the little cheap toy, and you can continue with your party. Okay. But then when you're in the ordering room, you want to watch the bottom of these forms or your Connect cards, whatever you're doing. And you're going to look for those circles. If they circled it, you want to ask them, did you want some more information about starting this business? Well, yes, of course they do. They circled it. So I have these little packets made up. They're pink. You can get some Pure Romance ones. They have our party flyers in it. They have our kit lists in it. They have Dear Potential Distributor in there, top 10 questions. This is all on our Anna's Angels group under the files, okay? It's all there. So just print it off. The kits obviously change different times, so get the new kits so that they can see what's going on. And I send them home with them. But if I'm going to send that home with them, I want to schedule a time to call. You can either do phone calls, you can do video chats. If they're in your town and you want to take them to coffee, that's fine. But I really find it hard for women to leave their house during the day when I'm able to make phone calls. So then what I do is write on their folder, I write down the time that I'm going to call them, that we agree. I set it in my phone right then and there so I don't forget to call them. And you really need to do this within 24 hours. Okay? So that's kind of my recruiting game. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you, but you got to follow up. The fortune is in the follow-up. If you're not doing those phone calls and talking to them about the business, then you're losing them. That's pointless for you to even be doing the game, period. Okay? So ladies, it's going to totally pay off. And when you're doing your video chats or your phone calls with them later, the other big thing that you want to do is make sure you're working this business around them. Read why they wrote down. Like if they're a single mom and they want to get out of the house and they need extra money, look at how much money they need. If they only need $250, that's only one party, 2 parties max a month. and just work this business around them. Don't shove pure romance down their throat. So that is my recruiting thing, and I just want you guys to go out there and make it happen. The other nice thing is that we're all here as a team to help you trade them. So don't be intimidated by it. You have the support group with you, and we're here to help. Okay,